afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 26th episode of MSME Masterclass. It is with great pleasure that I introduce you to a distinguished figure in the realm of steel wire manufacturing, Mr. Sidharth Agrawal. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Mr. Agrawal has been a pivotal force in shaping the trajectory of Systematic Group since its inception in 1988. As the Managing Director of Systematic Group, Mr. Agrawal embodies a wealth of experience and expertise in the steel industry. Under his visionary leadership, Systematic Industries has prospered into one of the fastest growing companies in the field of steel wire and wire products, with state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities strategically located in Silvassa, Gujarat, Kolkata, and head office in Bombay. A visionary leader whose insights and accomplishments continue to inspire all of us, we would like to welcome you to our MSME Masterclass, Mr. Sidharth Agrawal.
Yeah, thank you, Amrita, for being on the board. And I would like to congratulate JSW for starting this initiative. This is a very good initiative, and I think a lot of people will benefit. As an industry, something like this has to be done, which you are doing it. So keep doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that means a lot. Today's topic for discussion is modern steel wire manufacturing, its applications and advancements. So we will begin with our first question to you, Sidharth, which is what is steel wire and its significance in various industries?
So steel wire, basically steel is, if you say, I'm talking about layman language so that everyone can understand. So when the crude steel produced, it is being diverted into two sections. One is the flat steel and another is the long steel. When you're talking long steel, it goes into wire rod, and second is TMT. So wire rod is one section and TMT is another one. And flat steel, we know HR, CR, galvanized, which constitute the biggest part of the steel. So what we're talking about is the wire rod. Wire rod in India is constituting about 5 to 10% globally. If you take total steel production, it is 5 to 10% of steel globally, with $100 plus billion revenue size. And if you're talking about 90 to 95% of these wire rods are drawn into wires, which is used in automotive, construction, general engineering, retail, and other allied industries.
Okay. Could you also share with us an overview of the diverse applications of steel wire across industries?
So steel wire is a very niche product. It is being used in various applications. It is being used like when we're talking about our daily life, everywhere wire is being used. Right from nails to a screwdriver to a screw in your spectacles to an aircraft. To when you're talking about when you're taking grapes, in grape farming, steel wire is used for the fencing. So it is a very, very niche application. So it is like a lot of MSMEs are involved into this. It is not like a consolidated huge industry which is making most of the products are being manufactured by MSMEs, and so it is very customized product which for steel wires.
Could you, Sidharth, also take us through the manufacturing process of this?
I would like to add, say steel wire, we're talking about steel wire is used in like small application like tire cord. Tire cord, when you're talking about radial tires, everyone sees made of rubbers. Other than rubbers, they steel enforce into the tires, which gives the life. And we, as a technology is not updated, in the country is not updated enough to manufacture a product called tire cord. We are importing most of our requirement for that. And so a lot of avenues are there if we're talking about starting into steel wires, but it has to be into niche industries. When you're talking about the general industry, it is highly competitive, and sooner or later, many players are dying because of the competition. But niche industries, when we go like alloy steel and all those things, there are a lot of scope is there when one can venture into.
Understood. So can we now move on to the manufacturing process of this product?
Steel wire is generally when we get the wire rods. Wire rod is being produced by 3 or 4 major manufacturers in the country. and it comes minimum wire rod size. What we get is like 5.5 millimeter, and it goes up to 25 mm. So once you get the wire rod, it is chemically or mechanically treated to remove the scales. So either you pass through some descaling process, or you go through the chemical treatment process called pickling, where you are removing the scales through hydrochloric acid and then doing some phosphate coating over it. After that, the same wires are being drawn from the dies. Usually we use in the industry tungsten carbide dies, and from dies it is being drawn into finer sizes. Suppose where you're taking a 5.5 millimeter diameter wire, it is being drawn to as thin as 0.9, 0.6, 0.5 millimeter, depending upon the application and the requirement. As you draw the wire rod, the wire gets harder, because steel is a process, and the more you give process in steel, the more hard it becomes. So in between, you have to do heat treatment so that we can draw into the finer sizes. And after the process, it is being used for copper coating, galvanizing coating, or without coating as per the customer requirement. So technically it is into multiple die process, where wire rod being drawn, and then it is ready to use for the application.
Got it. Could we also discuss manufacturing, and how does the composition of raw materials affect the properties of steel wire?
So steel wire, if you say about, we primarily categorize into 3 or 4 categories. When you're talking about general steel, it is one thing is a high carbon steel. High carbon is any carbon which is more than 40, we say like it's high carbon, 40 carbon to 80 to 88 till 88 carbon we are able to produce in India right now. So second is a low carbon. Low carbon is anything less than 10. This is 0.05, 6, 7, 8. That is low carbon. Third is the mild steel, which comes in between. And fourth is alloy steel. Alloy steel is you add some boron or some other chemical composition to make it an alloy. So these are the 4 categories of wire rod which are available and which are used by wire industry.
Okay, we understand and we've observed that there are a lot of articles around green steel, and you've been pretty popular with the media when it comes to green steel. So could you share with our audience what is the concept of green steel, and how does green steel differ from the traditional steel production methods?
So today everyone is aware about this global warming, and we all are living with it. So steel is responsible for 11% of CO2 emission. So which is the largest emission by any industry. So as an industry, we have to be responsible. And when we're talking about green steel is steel produced using environmentally friendly and sustainable methods. So essentially, green steel is the manufacturing of steel without the use of fossil fuels. So usually green hydrogen is one of the solution. But then once you use green hydrogen, then the price of the steel will be different than which is produced by the fossil fuels. Green hydrogen is again a clean energy source that emits water vapor and leaves no residues in air, unlike coal and oil. Green hydrogen is achieved through process of electrolysis. When we do electrolysis, we get and it is powered by renewable energy such as wind or solar. Then water is split into hydrogen and oxygen. That hydrogen is utilized into the steel plants to produce the steel making process. So that is basically the green steel. Now, internationally, all the developed countries are working toward the green steel for saving the environment. And sooner or later, we all have to work towards it because because they are trying or they are planning to put entry barriers or higher tariff for the steel which is not produced by green steel. So anyone who's produced green steel will have a better advantage for exports in the coming future.
Is that something that you've implemented at Systematic already?
Yes, and Systematic, we are doing a lot of sustainable things. So we have done solar power. which is used in one of our plant. Entirely it is run by solar power. We are doing rainwater harvesting. So we are using the groundwater. We have done a lot of greenery. So we want to reduce the carbon emission in the environment, and we want to make it as like a carbon zero neutral.
Got it. Now, moving on, could we discuss with our attendees what are the common quality control measures and testing methods employed in the industry?
See, when you're talking about steel wires, it runs. All the plants are running on a mills. All the mills are running on continuous basis. So when we're talking about it is run in kilometers, day in, day out, there are a continuous process which runs 24/7, 365 days. Because of furnaces, or you cannot stop the plant. So when we're talking about the product, every inch or every centimeter of the product has to have same tensile values, same coating values, same size values. So it becomes very critical that each and every product, every inch of the product, for thousands of kilometers, it has the same value. So quality plays the most important role. So for quality parameters, usually what are the parameters are seen in the wire is the size. The size diameter has to be minimal. There is no variation in the sizes. The tensile values and elongations. The elongation has to be done. The torsion values. The wire should not break when it is twisted. And when we talk about coating, then usually they have like zinc coating. How much the zinc coating is there on the wire and it's consistent. Corrosion resistant tests. So there are various tests which are available in the market and which is being done by our mills, by our testing quality testers. So who done on daily basis to see the product is of good quality.
Okay. We could also discuss about recent innovations. If that's something that you would like to highlight in terms of steel wire manufacturing techniques and equipments, if there's any recent innovation that we could discuss.
Recent innovation, as of now, steel wire is one of the very primitive product. If you're talking about it, one of the oldest product which have started. But if you see the nails was one of the oldest product which was there, nail and hammer and the barbed wire which was there. So when whatever innovation has done, it is done in terms of technology, because the same product has to be produced at a cheaper price. The cost of production has to be lower. It has gone into volumes. So to be globally competitive, how you can save the energy, how can have the energy the biggest cost. The three biggest costs are energy in terms of fossil fuel or renewable energy. Second is the power, and third is the manpower. So all these three parameters plays the most important role in producing a steel wire. So whatever innovation has been done is to bring down the costing and see the product can be each and every product, each and every centimeter of the product is has the same values, whatever the values is required as per the BIS STM standards.
Okay, and what has been the typical trend in steel wire manufacturing industry, and if there's any sort of demand for steel wire, where is it coming from?
So to give the little bit of picture, like if you're talking about FY18, the total production of wire on India was 4.14 million tons. Okay, which is in FY24 it is expected to reach around 5.72, and then again in FY30 it is expected to reach 9.23, which comes to around 49% of CAGR. So because globally, we as a country, we are producing 128 million tons of steel. Out of that, only 5% of steel is wire rod. Compared to China, which make 1,000 million tons of steel, and out of that, 15% is steel wire rods. So the growth potential is very high. But since they are using wire rods in multiple applications, whereas we are not using steel wire rod in all the applications, because as the country become more developed, and you will require more different type of products which will require steel wire to be consumed. So demand per se, it is good. The demand should be good, but the market is very competitive, and one has to be aware of that.
When you say the market is very competitive, how is the industry adapting to meet these evolving market needs?
So when you're talking about steel wire, I have seen in the last 20 years there were many companies. There are a lot of companies who were producing because of various reasons they could survive. Now with all GST and everything coming into place, and overhead have costs have increased, so we can see the consolidation happening. So if you are not of a particular size, it will be very difficult to survive in the future. So the investment costs have increased drastically, and so is your distribution network, so is your manpower, your strength, your skilled people. All those has to be aligned. Then only it is you can take advantage.
Got it. And according to you, Sidharth, what is the future outlook of steel wire industry?
Steel wire industry, as I mentioned earlier, it is more or less we have to be very focused on quality. That is number one. The quality goes without saying. And after that, you have to have a particular size. Any companies say about 1,000 tons, 2,000 tons, it will be difficult to sustain unless and until you are into niche market. Like I know my friend who makes needle. So needle is very, very niche market. And if you're talking about 0.1 mm, 0.2 mm, 0.3 mm wire, so that is very small size and the valuation is very high. So when you're talking about such products, this product will sustain. They have a high requirement. So if anyone wants to venture into steel wire, you have to go into niche market. Any general product market is anyways not viable size in today's investment is not viable in today's environment.
Got it. Sidharth, we've been getting a lot of questions around the concept and the basics of steel manufacturing, and I would throw those terminologies to you. You just give our audience a brief understanding of how this works. So basically, a one-liner about how, in layman's term, you can explain this particular topic. Okay. So pickling, what is it?
Pickling is basically you put the steel into acid and you remove. So whenever steel production happens, there is some scale on the surface of the steel. The steel is not clean, there is some surface. It has to be removed because it gets oxidized. Without removing that, you cannot process it further. So pickling is putting the steel into the acid and then removing it.
What is coating?
Coating can be of different thing. It can be usually it is galvanizing, zinc coating or copper coating. That is the basic two terminology which is running in the wire industries.
Annealing?
Annealing is again a heat treatment. Whenever the steel gets heated, whenever steel is drawn, it is heated. So you have to anneal the wire to make it soft. Otherwise, it is hard. So when you talk about soft wire, it is only by the process of annealing. You take the steel into with the 400, 500, 600 degree temperature depending on the chemical composition, and then you cool it gradually. That is annealing.
Okay, and what is quenching?
Quenching is after annealing. How do you cool the steel? That is the process is called quenching. So when you talk about stainless steel, you quench into water. There are some steel where you quench into the oil, and there's some thing where you quench it into the by normal process. Yeah.
Wire drawing?
Wire drawing is a set of you reduce the wire diameter from a thicker to a thinner wire. That is a wire drawing. You put up a die and you like 5 mm to 4.8 is also a wire drawing.
And what is the general process of packaging these wires?
These wires usually is in packaged by HDP, LDP, or Hessian clothes, which was earlier used. So these are the process. Like a tire, you just you have either a mechanical way of doing it, or you have machines which rotate around the inner outer diameter so that metal is packed properly.
Okay. My last question to you, Sidharth, which is around systematic groups. So, could you share with our audience what is some of the best practices that you've adopted at Systematic that probably the industry could benefit from?
So, to start with, when I started the organization, we were making around 300 metric tons of steel wires at that, and only one location. Today we have multiple locations, 5 to 6 locations, and we are doing around. We have a capacity of around 180 to 200,000 ton of steel wires. So what we have learned is to have a good team, because it is not a way right now where you just hire people and they do the work. It is a contribution by each and every person. Every person has to bring something on the table, and you take everyone together. Like in our company, we don't have a policy of firing the people unless until he does something abnormally wrong with the ethics and values. So we keep the system which create a laggard on the system also becoming heavy, but then in the long term we know that the person is going to be there. So that is the policy which we have taken. So we keep the person like we have people who are 25 years in our company. So we take the person and we take like as a family member and we take it forward. So that is one thing. Second thing, in terms of customers, so at the end of the customer is the center. So we have to add value to the customer. As long as we are adding value to the customer, they will be with us. We cannot be opportunistic because in steel you have a lot of time where the steel prices goes up and down, but the language has to be the same, the behavior pattern has to be the same, and we have to go a long way. So sustainability, being with the customer and not taking too much of gap or margin. We know in the industry that you are going to get like a small kind of a thing, and you keep every day you keep doing the same thing, the same passion. Every morning you get up and you serve them.
Got it. Sorry, Sidharth, while we speak, I have an audience question that we would like for you to address, which is to do with pricing. It's a price competitive market, right? How do you, foresee that things will get better from here on, or the competition will keep existing?
Could you repeat the last part? I couldn't.
So because it's a price sensitive market,
Yes.
Do you see the competition advancing in the future, or you think that with time things will get sorted?
So how I look is this, see, we are a processor, we are not a steel producer. So whatever the steel cost, as long as we are able to buy the steel at the market price, and how much value we can add, or what is in the lowest cost we can produce the material and give it to the customer. We are focusing on our industry. We are not looking too much of the competition, because competition can do whatever they want to do. As long as we are sustainable, as long as our costing is in control, our quality is in control, we will be there.
And when you say that the quality is in control, sorry, this is a question that I have. When you say the quality control has to be in check at your industry or your group, what do you generally do to ensure that this quality is in check?
So we have a quality team, and over and above we have a department, audit department, which continuously keep a track of all the parameters. Like we have identified more than 100 parameters are there in the company. So we keep a check on all those 100 parameters, whether the graph is going up or down, or we keep a check on the people who are doing the quality check, whether they are doing it properly. So unless until quality is in place, you can't sustain. That is the first thing.
Got it, Sidharth. So with that, we've come towards the end of our episode. Thank you for your time today with us, Sidharth. It's been a wonderful session on the discussion of steel wires. I'm sure the audience is going to benefit from this.
Yeah, thank you, Amrita. Thank you for doing this cause, and we congratulate and we appreciate JSW that we keep doing this thing in the interest of the company or the industry.
Means a lot, Sidharth. This is for our audience. If you have any questions for this session, please feel free to type them in the question section on your Zoom meeting, and we will get them addressed. The recording of this session, along with all the previously conducted MSME Masterclasses, is on YouTube. So you can go on YouTube on our channel, JSW1 MSME, and subscribe and watch these episodes. Thank you once again, Sidharth. Lovely.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.